Get Gutsy, episode number 159 with Jadah Sellner on Ripple Effect Impact. Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now. Hey, how are you? Jenny here. It's time for another episode of Get Gutsy, and today we've got an amazing conversation lined up with a woman named Jadah Sellner. You are going to be pumped and inspired and motivated and more plugged in than you have been in a while. Before I want to dive into that, wow, there's just been so much happening in the world, hasn't there? Oh, it's a lot. It's just a lot, isn't it? And sometimes I don't have words other than to say we got to keep loving each other and coming back to this place of humanity. I've also been listening to Tom Petty songs on repeat because I am so in love with his music, and bummed I never got a chance to see him in concert. It's not that I didn't get a chance, I just didn't do it. I mean, I'm gonna just put that on me. He freaking toured his heart out and I never went. So it's just a good reminder that you're given a lot of opportunities in life, and if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse and say, I'll do it next time. And then there isn't always a next time. So if you want something, you should follow that. You've got to trust that you're worth it and you will figure it out. There's always a way. And it's really been a theme that I've been seeing so much over these last few weeks especially. It's always interesting when I am enrolling for my mastermind. It's like one of the most fascinating times for me because I see everyone's shit come to the surface. I got to be straight. I'll have a lot of people apply, and then some won't show up for calls. You know, when we have the call to like talk about their work and what this is about, and they just won't show up, and then it'll be this like really random excuse of like why they didn't get there, which I don't play that game. And then people will like really want to do it, and then they hit up against a fear, and it's the fear that they'll create the excuse around. So I keep coming back to what I know. And what I know is I am here to hold space for massive shifts and change. And I don't tolerate the excuses. I don't tolerate, all of the stuff that we come up with, our ego comes up with to keep us small and keep us safe. So it's just really fascinating for me because the month of October is one where I am enrolling for my mastermind. It's called Glow. If you haven't heard about it yet, go check it out, glowmastermind.com. I enroll for it about twice a year. And it's a 6-month coaching adventure. It's the best way to describe it. You really are creating your strategic plan, and we have this beautiful structure set up so you are taking action on the things that you say you want to create with your sacred work. And we have, amazing women from around the world who step forward, and I just have a blast leading it. And the way that I can lead it is that I go through the enrollment process, which if you enroll for your programs, you know what I'm talking about. It honestly cracks me up every time, and it cracks me open every time. And I can't wait to see who else steps forward into Glow. So go to glowmastermind.com. Applications are open for a bit longer. And once you apply, if I feel like you are a fit, we will get on a call together. And I'll really get a feel for you. And are you a person who does what she says she's going to do? Because that's the energy of the group. I'm really, really a big curator of energy. And then we'll decide, if you're moving forward. We start November, and the journey is November through April, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. You will also have an option to decide if you want to join us for an amazing retreat in Costa Rica. I've been leading these wonderful exotic retreats for the last year or so, and it's just been such a cool part of my work. I'm absolutely loving it. So glowmastermind.com is where you can check it out. And now I want to give a little sense on what you are going to be hearing on this episode. Jadah Sellner is somebody I met a few years back. We were both speakers at an event, and she at that point was the co-owner of a business called Simple Green Smoothies. So if you're a green smoothie drinker or lover, Jadah might have played a role in that because they've done so much work around kind of promoting this green smoothie lifestyle. And she recently walked away from that very successful business. Her and her business partner, Jen Hansard, who I also have had on this show, created it from nothing. And Jadah became clear that she was needing to move on. And so we talk about that. I mean, that wasn't an easy decision for her, but you'll hear on the episode how she follows her why and her what without worrying about the how. Okay, how the various social media platforms as an entrepreneur has that you have at your kind of disposal to get your message out there, or like dance floors. And I love this analogy that she uses, and she dives into it in depth in the conversation. She'll also share a unique metric to evaluate the success of a business move you've tried, and a simple business revenue map you can do yourself. She is a very just love-based woman. She's all about spreading this message. She talks about building communities with love so you can connect to your bigger vision, reach more people, and support your family and grow your income while not adding more work for you. So I know you're going to get so much out of this conversation, and I am pumped to introduce you to this episode of Get Gutsy, which is all about ripple effect impact. Enjoy.
Jadah Sellner, welcome to Get Gutsy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I am so happy to just be in this cozy little conversation with you today.
Yes, me too. It's a long time coming. I've known of you for quite some time. I think the first time I really got plugged into you and your awesomeness was through our mutual friend Jonathan Fields at his Camp GLP. I think the first annual, whenever year that was, it was 2014. Yeah, it was, because you and your business partner at that time were speaking there. I was speaking there. I had just had my daughter like a few months prior. So I because I was staying in those bunks, like some people were saying, I had no place to pump like in the bunk room because it would have woken everybody up. So I was sneaking off at multiple times of the event, pumping, like breast pumping.
I wish I knew. You could have totally come into my little introvert cabin.
Yeah, I definitely was shifted out of my comfort zone, staying in a big bunk with like 15 women I didn't know, but it was awesome. And I got to know your story. At the time you were part of the Simple Green Smoothies team and that journey. And now you've just, gone through these evolutions, and I love, seeing where you are now. I'm on your website now. Y'all got to check her out, jadahtsellner.com. And that tagline there in that photo, intentionally building a tribe of world changers.
Yeah.
Boom. So let's talk about how you got here. And your journey's been pretty well documented because you've talked about it. But let's go back to Simple Green Smoothies. Let's go back there, because I know you had some businesses before that time. Can you talk about like what got you to Simple Green Smoothies? Because it wasn't like you had this runaway hit straight out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I had a brick and mortar business that my husband and I had started in Kauai, and we had no business degrees, no college, degrees or anything like that. Just had a passion and saw a way to really help people. And that's really been my path the entire time of just getting gutsy with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to throw myself into starting something new, not having it all figured out or an entire plan in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that business, I knew that I wanted to help specifically moms. We had a play and learning center for kids,
Mm-hmm.
but not in that format. It was a brick and mortar business where we were watching other people's kids, and we had our own toddler daughter of our own who was pushing kids out the door, like, this is my space, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that moving into my in-laws' house, Jen and I actually met in a mom's group, and we started a parenting blog, which was kind of the foundation of what Simple Green Smoothies would become. But the intention was not to start a green smoothie website. It was about, two moms super passionate about intentional living and being present with our kids and sharing the resources and tips and information that we were gathering as being new moms. And so one of those tips was, drinking one green smoothie a day, which at that time I was drinking green smoothies. I was living in my in-laws' house, felt like I didn't have control over my health or my body. And I just started this one simple habit, drinking one green smoothie a day. I lost 27 pounds in 3 months. And that energy, that fuel was what gave me just the gumption to go after something again. Because I think what happens, we have a lot of beginnings and endings, and there's always that messy middle, the transition. And that doesn't just happen once. It happens several times in our lifetime. And so from me ending one business, moving from Kauai back to California, I was in that messy middle. And I think that the green smoothie gave me that little boost to get kickstarted into the next venture, which was a family blog and then turned into an Instagram account sharing green smoothie recipes, which then turned into a website, which then turned into a book. But I will tell you what we created and built, over 400,000 followers on Instagram, 300,000 Facebook fans, 350,000 email subscribers, published book, being featured in all of these things. That was never the plan. And I think that's something important to really note, that we think that we have to have it all planned and figured out before we create the business or the life that we want to live.
Yeah, I love that. That was never the plan. Were you simply following your interest? Was that how one thing led to the next?
Yes, it's a little bit of mix, right? There's a little bit of interest of something that's in front of me that I'm engaged in. I would almost say even over interest or over passion, like finding your passion. It's really like, what are you engaged in the moment? And so that was kind of what was happening in my world. I always say I'm a walking billboard for good. And so anytime something is good that's happening in my life, I have to shout it at the rooftops and tell everyone else about it. And sometimes that thing that you want to shout out the rooftops is something that you could actually monetize and turn into a business. And that's what the green smoothies were. Because it's not like I'm so passionate about green smoothies. I'm super passionate about helping people. And that comes in very different layers and lenses over my lifetime based on my experience and what I'm learning and reading about. So so I would say engagement over even interest or passion.
Yes. Okay. So the engagement piece. And it's so important too, even just looking at, when we are analyzing our business, I do this now too, really looking at customer engagement. Who's opening the emails, who's clicking on the links. It's not just, well, how many people are here? Well, if they're not taking any action, then they're not really engaged. So that's a really awesome point that I want our listeners to take in. What are you personally engaged in? What are you super jazzed by? And then can you connect that to some kind of business model? And so for you with Simple Green Smoothies, and for our listeners who have not checked that out yet, it's simplegreensmoothies.com. It got me, honestly, Jadah. I hadn't had a green smoothie before I met You both, and so thank you for that. I bought a Vitamix as a result of that meeting, and although I don't drink one every day, I drink a good amount in the summer, especially because it's nice and warm here. But for you all, when you were kind of saying, "Hey, there's something here," did it happen like pretty instantly once you got over to Instagram? Like, how did that growth happen with that particular channel?
Yeah, so with Instagram, I was actually really resistant. And, Jen and I had already been focusing on the parenting blog. She built the website for that.
Hmm.
And she was just like, you can do that Instagram thing if you want. Like, I don't want to do another social media platform. And I was kind of like, I don't either.
Hmm.
But one of my friends really encouraged us to get on there. So I went ahead and opened an account. She said, if our intention was actually just to write an ebook to sell on our parenting blog about green smoothies. And she's like, if you're going to write a green smoothie ebook, you need to start an account sharing your green smoothie recipes on Instagram because people are going hot for like health and recipes. And so I just went for it, started sharing, green smoothie recipes that I was just making at home.
Hmm.
And she was great because she's like, when you fill up your grid to the first 9 photos, I'll give you a shout out. So I had this like, okay, got to fill in those photos on Instagram. And she gave us a shout out and got a couple hundred people. And I saw the power of actually having relationships with other people and them giving you some instant boost, instant credibility. And so I met another person at an in-person boot camp who was running her business online through Instagram, but also had offline events. And so I met with her. I brought her a green smoothie. We took a picture and then she gave us a shout out and that grew our Instagram following to 3,000 followers. So I think it's really important, especially when you're just getting started and building a community or building visibility around an idea, that there's also that offline piece. So often we're so focused on these online relationships, but actually the 2 people that gave us a shout out, I met them in person and in real life. So I really encourage people to build those relationships in the real world to help then leverage your online activities.
Right. And so many women especially need to hear that message that you've got to get out from behind your computer. Especially now the internet is so cluttered. There's a lot of people doing what we're doing. And if you are simply relying on this digital tool to do everything for you, you're not going to stay relevant. You're going to hit this plateau and it's still about relationships. Business has always been about relationships.
Yeah.
Technology has assisted in the relationship nurturing because we can stay in touch easier than we've ever been able to stay in touch with before. But like you, Jadah, my business journey very much has been about going to events. In fact, when I was at a place early on in my entrepreneurial journey where I really wanted to give up because I was so frustrated with how slow it was growing and how lonely I felt, I took this Hail Mary pass and I went to my first ever female entrepreneur conference. I sold my wedding dress to buy the ticket. And it was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. I didn't know these people were here because I had come from this corporate background. It was a very different existence. And it was through those live events, that was the first of many I've gone to as an entrepreneur, that keep me going, that keep me committed, that keep me connected to fellow journey women and journey men who are, crazy enough and passionate enough to walk this entrepreneurial path. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that. So this whole offline piece was critical on you building this online following. And so you just continued to nurture that particular channel. And if I remember correctly, like you really did you go all in on Instagram? Was like that pretty much your primary spot?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate, especially if you're a small team of most likely one, is really going all in on one social media platform or one medium of where you're going to share your message and your big idea to attract your audience. Because I really look at, social media or wherever you're sharing your message that's the dance floor. And it's really challenging to be at several dance floors at several parties at the same time. And you're trying trying to keep up with all these different conversations where you can add a lot more value if you just go all in on one place. So Instagram was the only thing for the first several months. And then we added a secondary, which was Facebook. So we had a primary Instagram, Facebook, and that was it. Period. Like there was, sporadic everywhere else. But as far as consistency and really nurturing and loving up on our community, and what I like to say, like no comment left behind, we only did that on Instagram, Facebook. And then of course, I look at social media as the dance floor, and then I look at our website, our blog as our home. So we would definitely nurture and connect with our community if they left any comments on the blog post. And then I look at your email list as your bedroom, where you're having more private conversations with people, which is what we did about 6 months into starting our Instagram following. Is we actually created a way for people to opt into our email list by adding more valuable content for them.
Okay. Wow. I like how you broke that down. How it was the dance floor, your home, and your bedroom. That's a beautiful methodology, if you will, a mindset for making the business feel more human, more tangible, not so abstract, that we can be intentional about what kind of home we are nurturing, how we're communicating in the bedroom, what that relationship is with people, and then kind of the moves that I think about that too, Jadah, when I'm like kind of come out with some campaign, some sort of, promotion and offering, that what I'm really doing is I'm busting out my dance moves. I'm going to do my dance right now. And there's other people who may have bigger dance moves than me. They might have a larger budget that they are allocating towards their campaign, but that doesn't mean that their dance is better than mine necessarily. Mine is its own unique version of a dance, and nobody can dance just like Jenny. Nobody can dance just like Jadah. Nobody can dance just like our listeners right now. So that I just love it. So in terms of your pathway with Simple Green Smoothies, I mean, it was quite a journey. We've had Jen Hansard on the show way back when. She was one of our first ever interviews. This show's been going for, about 2 years now, which I'm realizing like, whoa. And you got to a point in that where you had achieved a lot of things, right? Lots of programs. You just had really consistent offerings. You would have these challenges, and then you could guide them into, the challenges were free, and then you would guide them into a paid offer. You all got a really great book deal. I mean, did you expect any of that? Did you see any of that going down when you first started?
Definitely not. No. I mean, I had the vision of, and I always say, really connecting to your why and what you want to create, and releasing the when and how it's going to happen. So I knew, like, my what was, I wanted to create a business that allowed flexibility in time for me to spend more time with my daughter and my husband and be able to travel. And I knew why was just to really be able to serve in a really deep way, in a way that I'm using my gifts, my wisdom, my expertise, and to serve the world in that way. But I didn't know how it was going to happen. So there, again, those were three business attempts: the brick and mortar, to the family blog, to then Simple Green Smoothies. And now I'm on to my fourth venture. So it's definitely, I never attached to the how. I'm very committed to experimentation and testing and validating my ideas, and then really checking in with my intuition, with my heart, what feels the best. Questions that I ask myself after every experiment that I do in my business is, did that give me energy or did it drain my energy? And I can assess if that stays in the business model or not.
Oh, yes, I'm writing that down. Did that give me energy or did that drain my energy? Huge. Because, I think at first when people get started, it's novel and you're just excited to get going. You're like, ooh, this seems fun. And then you stay in this game long enough and you realize it's work. There are consequences to every decision that you make. And just because this one model or this one program was like a home run for somebody, or they seem to be, really jiving with it, doesn't mean that it's going to work for you and your constitution, the way you are
Yeah.
wired, that you do want freedom, you want to be able to travel, you want to do some of this higher level work. So let's talk about that, because you've obviously gone through several iterations, evolutions in your work. You made the decision at what point to step away from your path with Simple Green Smoothies. What was behind that decision, and what did it call you forward to do?
Yeah, so it's ironic because we mentioned how we connected through Jonathan Fields, and he's a great friend of mine, a great mentor. And in 2013, I had written my 3-year vision, and I didn't revisit it for another 2 years. And when I did, I read through it, and so many things had happened. But what I really noticed was the first few pages had nothing to do with Simple Green Smoothies. It really had to do with this work in really helping women, and specifically moms at that time. And it's full circled into mostly moms that I serve today. But I was just like, whoa, like this is my heart's work. This is my soul's work. This is really when I was building an online business, or any business, was just to give me credibility to help other people go after and realize their dreams. And so I knew that was always the plan, that Simple Green Smoothies was not the end for me. Like whatever online business that I was building in the time, it was something that I was engaged in. It was something that I wanted to help more people, but I knew that was just the beginning for me. And so revisiting my 3-year vision, it just kind of reconnected me to that. And also was like, whoa, I've already accomplished all the things that I wanted to create and do within the business Simple Green Smoothies at that time for me. And I had been doing a lot more speaking on stages and sharing the behind the scenes of marketing and strategy, and just business is what I live and breathe. It comes so easy for me to support people in that way. So that it was my next layer of engagement. So my engagement moved beyond green smoothies and hacking the green smoothie lifestyle to now hacking building businesses and a life. And so that was the next evolution. But I, even in 2013, which was right when our business just had its first like $86,000 launch, and all of like, we were just like game changer for us. My husband quit his job and all of these things. I was already ready for the next thing. So even as we were building for those next 3 years, my heart was already in another space, another place. And so I just had to allow my logic brain to catch up with the heart. And I worked with a lot of coaches and different things. And they're like, not yet, not now. You have so much to build right here. And I'm so thankful for being slow about it, because I've built so many amazing things along with my business partner. And I've learned so much about building a business and being in partnership and growing a team, that it only gave me more skills and more tools to impart and share with the women that I serve today.
Right.
And so with that 3-year vision, it was actually January 2016. I actually got on a call with my business partner and had my own like coming out party of like, but I was hemming and hawing for a couple of years of like, do I stay or do I go, or can I do both? And so yeah, that was really my moment of sharing. This is my truth. This is my heart. This is where I'm being led and called to next. And it was really, really difficult to share. And it was really, really difficult to really own the decision and actually do all the things that it took to make that exit for sure. So that was another year-long journey of us getting clear on all those pieces and exiting and closing and tying up the loops and love, and like sending each other both off, because both of us are like, can we do this on our own? Can she, run the team on her own? Can I start my own thing on my own? We had been business wifeys for 5 years. So yeah, that was definitely kind of how that entire transition happened, was just really owning my next chapter and what I was being called towards.
Took a tremendous amount of courage, because you're walking away from something that was on the rise, but yet as you said, your heart was already in another place. And
Yeah.
so you needed to give the logical mind some space and some time and some kindness to catch up. And it sounds like you had these wonderful, mentors and coaches around you who could guide you through that. And I just give you so much credit to both you and Jen for being able to have that relationship and that love for each other to say, hey, I'm sure it wasn't easy, but that you've made it through the other side. And now I look at what you've built and what you're continuing to build, and you've really hunkered down in this message around love over metrics. So let's spend some time talking about what is that and why is that so important for you to spread?
Yeah. So what that really comes down to, and I'm a community builder at heart, and I just really believe in businesses caring about people. So often we make our metrics of success surrounded by numbers, and that's the only thing that they're measuring. And I really want us to go back to the basics and what we were just talking about, right? About relationship building and really nurturing those relationships and pouring time and energy into people. And so leading with love and allowing the numbers to follow, because that's exactly what we did in Simple Green Smoothies. We didn't have these number goals. We didn't have like, we want to reach, 1 million Instagram followers. We never had these metrics goals. It was really about us living a life that's aligned with who we are, what we stand for, and serving people from that place. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a real big advocate for that values-based leadership in business, mm-hmm. and building a community that you serve from that place. Mm-hmm. And so that is like what love over metrics means to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's honor the people behind the numbers. Like, mm-hmm. let's not keep saying we have 10,000 email list subscribers, and we get caught up in those external mm-hmm. pieces. And, some people are like, I only have 1,000 people on my email list. I'm like, if you had 1,000 people in a room with you, listening to your story, your message, your heart, and how you can help solve their problems, would you be happy? And it's like, yes, you would. But as soon as we create this online, we become so separated from the humans on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. You're very much speaking my language. I've been in this space for 10 years now, and I've played around with all these different models and ways of delivering programs and launching programs and all of that. And the next season and cycle of my work is really plugged into this idea of what I call high vibe, high touch, and high end. I've realized that, for me anyway, when I started, it was like, I want to help everyone, like I want to help everyone. And you can't help everyone. You can have a good heart and, put out free content like I do with this podcast and social media posts and resources or ebooks or meditations or whatever it is, in terms of how you serve. But this whole idea of, I really like to go deep with my clients. I don't do well with service. Yeah. Like, it's just not what I do. And so much of the online space is definitely about volume. Like, we're just, let's go, let's scale, let's go wide. And it's okay if people buy your stuff and then they never touch it, and it's all right. But I there's nothing wrong with that model, but I think it's so important to really drill down in how you're designed, how you're wired. And for you, this love over metrics and value-based leadership, it sounds like you really want to work with people, like see them as humans. And so how does this spill over into how you've designed your offerings, how you enroll for your offerings in the Jadah Sellner business? Let's talk like how it breaks down into real everyday actions.
Yeah. So, just to kind of give you a context, that I don't think that there's anything wrong on either side. If you want to reach people at scale, and have that really one-to-many impact, you definitely can, and you can still pour in and love and connect. And the decision that I'm intentionally making today with JadahSellner.com today, and again, visions can shift, expand, pivot, all of that, is that I wanted to grow a business that's about ripple effect impact. So it's about reaching, very similar to what you're saying, reaching a smaller group of people, but that they are helping people as well. And so there's that ripple effect impact. And so I'm on a mission right now to help 1,000 women reach at least 1,000 people, for them to impact and connect with 1,000 people, because when we multiply that, then we get that 1,000,000-person impact. And so there's really ways to still have that scale, that reach, that big impact in the world, but do it in a really intentional way. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with either way. What I want is that people are just loving up on the people that they serve, no matter what. So if you go for scale, make sure that you have people on your team to love up on the people in your community. And if you're going for depth and more intimacy, making sure that you're taking care of yourself to really pour into your people and serve from the overflow, because we can still burn out at either end of going with a few or going wide with many. So,
boom. That's it. Yep. Serve from your overflow. And I like that. Make sure that you are taken care of by your team. Those of us who are called to serve at these high yet deep levels with our people, whether we're serving them at live retreat, sacred circle that we might be leading, or these more intimate group programs, sometimes things can get a little dicey with boundaries, or feeling like, oh my gosh, someone invested 5 figures, that you're overgiving, you're overcompensating, which is like, oh, someone bought a $297 program. It's less of a hit. There's like less maybe energy attached to it. And so it's such a great point to bring up that, when we give our clients an opportunity, our customers an opportunity to invest in themselves through our creation, no matter the price point, that's a gift, and it's a beautiful reciprocal gift that we offer each other for growth, for transformation. And that ripple effect concept that you talk about is really, really profound. So Jadah, where can people find out more about everything that you're up to? I know is Facebook your platform of choice these days for the Jadah Sellner brand?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's important to really find out where your voice, where you can get your message out the fastest and the easiest and the most relevant for your community and where they're hanging out. And so with this, it's not Instagram, it's definitely Facebook, and even more Facebook Live and video. So definitely following me on Facebook, Jadah Sellner, and then JadahSellner.com. And then the 2 spaces, I have my loveovermetrics.com, which is a 12-month business growth incubator for women with big ambitions and even bigger hearts. So those women really ready to lead with love and allowing the numbers to follow from that place. And then also for people who are wanting to build a community, wanting to build a tribe similar to what we've been able to create online with Simple Green Smoothies, I have a course called Build Your Challenge. So if you go to buildyourchallenge.com, you can get access to that. And I'm happy to share, one thing that I wanted to just share, like a tangible takeaway for people as they're kind of dreaming or visioning that next level of their business, or maybe even just starting their first business. What I like to do, I learned this from one of my friends, James Wedmore, just kind of looking at your business revenue map and model, like an overview picture of that. So just being able to write, the year that you're thinking of, like 2018, whatever it is, and then writing the revenue that you want to create in that year, and allowing it to be a stretch, but not to feel like a stress or a strain, or it means I'm going to burn out and burn my team on the way, but really being able to stretch ourselves in that dollar amount, and then drawing a circle beneath that number and actually writing what is that one platform that you could share your message and attract your audience. What is that dance floor for you, and actually writing that down. So for me, that's a Facebook Live, being able to connect with my audience that way. That's the free way that I can get my message out there and attract new people into my world. And then being able to draw a line from there. And then what are your paid offers? And it could just be one offer. And then you multiply the dollar amount of that. And then divide it by the revenue, the annual revenue amount that you're wanting to get to, or you might have several products, ideas that you're thinking about. And it's just nice to get like a big picture overview for you. So for me, that line goes from Facebook into Build Your Challenge, writing the dollar amount for that and how many I'd want to sell in a year, and then drawing another line to my Love Over Metrics Business Growth Incubator program. How many women do I want in that program, timesing that by the dollar amount, and then allowing it to add up to the big picture annual revenue. So it's just a great way to kind of draw out what your business model could look like and how that revenue could come in a year.
Perfect. I like visuals too, and that's a really nice way to break it down and to see, is it possible based on what you have now? And if not, what tweaks are you willing to make? So Jadah, the finale question, you are obviously a very gutsy woman. You've made several gutsy moves, and I'm very curious to know, what is the gutsiest move you've ever made, and how does it inspire your life and work today?
Yeah, I would definitely say the gutsiest move I've ever made to date is definitely making that exit, that transition from Simple Green Smoothies. I actually wrote the book proposal for our second book, and I knew that I wouldn't be doing it. So allowing my business partner and the Simple Green Smoothies team to run fully with that second book, because I knew I didn't want to write another book for the thing that I didn't want to be known for. And I had been known for like, that's the green smoothie lady or the green smoothie girl. So I needed to exit, let go, close that chapter so I could fully step into what this next evolution and expansion of my work in the world is. And it's been an exciting and scary journey. Like, it never goes away. I'm like fourth business in, and still all the doubts, the fears, the insecurities, the who am I identity crisis, all of those pieces still come up, even if you have, that knowledge and expertise and experience of building successful businesses. So, and I will continue to look for where I am most engaged, most lit up, and feel most expressed. I will keep chasing that, and I'm always open to starting something new. So every few years, I think that's my gutsiest move, is starting something new.
Yes. I love it. It is so spot on. It takes a tremendous amount of courage. I also have a mastermind. In my most recent cycle, the theme was worth, truth, and letting go. And I now theme my mastermind, which is fun. But let me tell you, you're going to live that theme. And we all did. We all did. And as women, we need to get comfortable with letting go. And we do every month. Those of us on our cycle, we're letting go. We're shedding. And so when we can honor that, and thank you for your honesty and your transparency around the doubts and the insecurities and who am I, and no matter what level of your success, it still comes. And so that just shows that we're human and we still have work to do, and that we are, walking what I call the edge of the knife as creators, and allowing what's meant to be birthed through us to come through us. So thank you so much, Jadah, for sharing your beautiful wisdom. Everybody go check her out. We will have all those links on our show notes page. And with that, I say, this is Jenny Fennig sending you so much love, light, and faith as you get gutsy. I will see you next time.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fennig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Get Gutsy as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. Are you responsible for leading and growing your spiritual business? If so, I have a free tool for you that will help you spread your message like wildfire. It's called the Sacred Marketing Puzzle, and it's a one-page PDF guide that simplifies the often mysterious and confusing world of marketing. When you use sacred marketing tools to amplify your message, you'll provide huge value to your tribe and grow your business. What are you waiting for? Go to jennyfennig.com/puzzle to get yours instantly. That's jennyfennig.com/puzzle. Gutsy leaders, unite.